And hello everybody, welcome back to British Stand. A bit of breaking news as there has been a mass stabbing attack, of course, in Marseille, down in the south of France, and the French police have shot dead the attacker. Again, these are stories that we hear far too often. We are going to be breaking it down. We've got some video footage from the scene, and we're also going to be getting on X together and having a look at some of the reaction, of course, from Marseille. As always, guys, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and get involved in the live chat. I'll be taking your live reaction a little bit later on. But let's go through what has happened in the south of France. So, French police have shot dead a man in the southern port city of Marseille after he went on a violent stabbing spree today, leaving at least 5 people wounded. One of the victims is now said to be in critical condition. Authorities have identified the attacker as a Tunisian national who was legally resident in France, and according to Marseille prosecutor Nicolas Besson, the man had just been evicted from a hotel for non-payment. In retaliation, he returned armed with 2 knives, a baton, and he first attacked the hotel manager and the manager's son before turning on another hotel guest who sustained the most serious injuries. He then moved onto the street, stabbing 2 passers-by during what officials described as a criminal rampage. Eyewitnesses said that the suspect was carrying two large butcher knives. Shots rang out in front of a kebab restaurant near Marseille's Old Port around 3 p.m. local time. And we are going to get to that video footage momentarily and we'll see it for ourselves. One resident told French media that the man even tried to stab officers as they attempted to arrest him. Police first fired a taser, but when he ignored repeated warnings to drop his weapons, they opened fire with live rounds, killing him at the scene. Police have now cordoned off the area and erected a forensic tent outside the restaurant, and Interior Minister Bruno Raterelu has confirmed he will travel to Marseille this evening and visit the city's police headquarters. Marseille's mayor, Benoit Pavin, has expressed solidarity with the victims and praised the swift police response, saying the security of the women and the men of Marseille is my priority. Of the 5 victims, prosecutors say only 1 remains in critical condition and 2 others are seriously injured. Some crazy scenes happening out in Marseille. Let's not waste any time. Let's watch some of the video footage from the scene. And of course, as I said, viewer discretion must be advised.
C'est bien fait.
So good police response there. But by the looks of things, this guy got evicted from his hotel, stabbed the manager, stabbed his son, stabbed another, and then went out on the street in another rampage, and then even went to try and attack the police. Let's go on to Twitter or X for some more reaction from this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking forward to seeing your guys' comments down there below. But let's have a little look as to what has gone on. Let me just try and screen share my page quickly, and then we'll get over to X and have a little look at some reaction together from the scene. There we go. So, Marseille, let's have a little look at what's going on there. Let's try and see if we've got any more news. Of course, this video footage as well, as we're seeing. Oh, we've got some football stuff. Marseille, let's put Marseille shooting in. And see if that comes up with anything else. Yeah, some more video footage, of course, of the videos. Of course, a lot of media sites running with this one. Here's a key detail that was left out of my report initially, guys, is that Don Keefe is saying that the Tunisian man was shouting Allah Akbar. Let's see if there's any more, of course, with the independent journalism saying if he said the words. Here's another one here again. Tunisian knifeman under judicial supervision, shot dead by police, having attacked at least 4 people. That's 5 people, by the way. That has gone up. Again, we're starting to see other reports saying Allah Akbar there. Allah Akbar here. So, by the looks of things, he said those words. 35-year-old. So we're seeing a lot of the video footage. I'm just trying to see if there's any more reaction from the scene other than the video. Shall we just entertain ourselves with a bit of a BBC report? Now, I'm not really into the BBC, but let's see where the BBC have gone with this. Again, as stated, a man shot dead by police in southern French city of Marseille after 5 people were wounded. But yeah, this is a Tunisian national who was legally a resident in France, but known to the police. I think that tells you everything that you need to know. The individual was known to the police. So, yeah, I mean, as I said, that kind of tells you everything you need to know. Yeah, so he was under supervision, so people knew about him, right? So, of course, he's a Tunisian national, obviously not from there, saying those words, and Alan snack bar. Yeah, saying those words, but of course known to the police, and this is the problem. Now, I know a little bit about France. My girlfriend's from France, and actually she's not. She lives not too far away from Marseille. Actually, she lives there, but she's told me about the changes in that city in particular, and how messed up the place is. And again, France are dealing with. If you think the UK is bad, in France is a lot of sort of they call them sort of the Arabs or something like that, but there's a lot of Arabs, if you want to call them that, of course, North African migrants that come over to France. That's where they sort of they sort of stay. Let me try and see if there's any more media from the scene. More update, but as always, guys, it's thoughts and prayers with those that are injured. I mean, it could have been a whole lot worse. One's in critical condition, so hopefully that individual is going to be okay. But we've obviously got 1 fatality. As you can see, all of it is this video footage that's just been circulating around from the scene. So there's nothing really more in terms of the latest. I'm just trying to see if there's any more footage or any different footage or any police statements or anything other than the clip that we've already seen. If not, then we'll get into the live chat troops. But yeah, as you can see, it's just this video. It's of course gone viral. 5 people injured, and yeah, that's kind of all we got in terms of the X reaction. But it is a breaking news story. Probably more will come out as the day goes on or as the evening goes on. But just another sad day in modern Europe. It's just another sad day in modern Europe, and this is the kind of things we have to put up with in modern day Europe, which is super unfortunate. I hate to see these scenes. I really hate to see these scenes. But as stated, it's just something that we've kind of come used to, and something that's a day-to-day part of living in Europe. Let's take a little bit of reaction here in the live chat troops. France are compliance. Concerned UK citizen says, well, this is more of a wake-up call. I mean, everywhere, guys, this is a European thing right now in terms of what is going on. And I would go as far to say that France is in more of a cesspit than the UK right now. And I know we see a lot of the migrants coming over from France into the UK, but that's because they're economic migrants, right? And I've always said it. For France to take control of their own borders, we need to push the boats back to France, right? I know it sounds pretty ludicrous from the outside perspective. There might be some French people watching, but we definitely need to push the boats back to there, and then they can take care of their borders. I know this individual is legal, but the loophole in France is very different, right? The loophole is very, very easy to become to kind of become legal within France. It's, you know, you get your granted asylum and all these things, but they've also got a broken system. You know, in France, if you work for 6 months in France, right, as a migrant, this isn't even as a French citizen, as sort of a migrant who's came there legally, so to speak, if you work there for 6 months, there's a loophole in France where you actually can get 18 months. You know, we have job seekers allowance in the UK. You get 18 months of job seekers allowance, of free pay, where the state actually pays you to look for a job, or where you pretend to. So all you have to have is 6 months under your belt. You don't even need to be a French citizen to get this loophole. You work for 6 months, and then you can take 18 months off finding a job, and you're getting paid by the French state. And that isn't even just for French citizens. It's a huge one. I've spent a lot of time with French people and listened to this loophole that's there, and it's absolutely bonkers within France. It really, really is. Kieran Lee says, British government have given France millions, if not billions, to set up their own defence, to send them back to stop coming here. They pocket the money and fast-track them over here. Guys, whilst they do have a lot of illegal migrants, in particular instance, the one that we're reporting on, this Tunisian national, who is from Tunisia, known by police, he's not actually an illegal migrant. He's legally in France, or at least that's what's being reported right now. However, of course, there is a ton of illegal migrants currently in France right now. But on another note, when we're talking about illegal migration, and I know this story isn't correlated because this individual isn't illegal, I've always said, for France to get control of their borders, we need to get control of ours. Push the boats back to France. Then it's going to be like, oh shit, oh, you can't do that. We're out of the ECHR. We push the boats back. Just keep pulling the boats back and say, no, you get a fucking grip. And get a grip of it. We're not having them there. Your problem now, right? And then I know it sounds a bit aggressive, but that's an aggressive approach you need to have, especially when you're out of all these sort of human rights treaties. And then all of a sudden they're going to go, oh fuck, now we're a ship here. Let's get control of our borders on the side of Germany, Belgium, and Italy, I think. And then all of a sudden they take control of their borders, and then they're pushed into the other country. Oh, all of a sudden that country is like, oh shit, now we've got all of them in here. Oh, what do? Oh, we need to get control of our borders. And then it's almost a domino effect all the way back. No country wants to be lumped with them all, but unfortunately that's what we're going to have to do. Well, fortunately, that's what we're going to have to do with regard to France. France have got a really, really bad thing, and I've been speaking about it, particularly in the south of France. I've heard of lovely places, you know, such as Cannes. That Cannes is unwalkable. Cannes is a most beautiful, idyllic place in the French Riviera that attracts thousands of tourists each year. However, due to the migration there, and due to the level of migrants that they've currently got residing in those areas, it's a no-go place at night. So whilst it's beautiful during the daytime, and yeah, of course, picturesque views, the lot. French Riviera, most beautiful place arguably in the world. However, at nighttime, it's a no-go area. You can't even walk around there without fearing potentially getting mugged. And this is the case in cities like Marseille as well, all the way down the south. Now, I'm not sure with Monaco. Monaco is its own place. However, all the way up, Nice is a bit of a shit pit as well. The French Riviera is supposed to be a beautiful place and still attracts thousands of people. However, they have all got one thing in common. Now, the smaller places, smaller towns, again, it's all filled with North African migrants all there. Yeah, some of them may be legal, a lot of them probably illegal. However, at the same time, they're up shit creek with it all. They're up shit creek with it all, especially with their loopholes as well, and what's attracting them to there. However, for their benefit, our economic benefits seem to be better. That's why individuals cross the channel to come to our place from France, so they don't see it as the sort of main settling ground. But the North African migrants like to settle in France, and that's what they kind of do, and they've turned it into a shit pit, along with along with many other areas. It's annoying. It's frustrating. We voted for Brexit for a reason. It was never implemented properly on purpose. Exactly. Brexit was never the problem. The people in charge and carrying out Brexit was the issue. They were the problem. They were creating the problem, and they were the ones that made it turn out to be shit. But it actually had really, really good, we had good intentions, you know. Over 50%, over half the country voted for Brexit. But as stated, the old regime and this current regime don't implement Brexit in the correct way. Is something wrong with your nose? It's red. No, you know what? It's boiling in here, and I need to, I was tanning a little bit today. I was out in the sun. Europe needs to deport all of these people ASAP. I mean, as I said, it's a European problem, but I say it time and time again on these live streams when certain attacks like this happen, you won't see it in Poland. You won't see it in Hungary. You won't see it in Switzerland. You won't see it in particular countries because they've got their shit together. France is a cesspit. France is a cesspit. I'm going to be going to Paris in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks today, and I'm interested to see. I haven't been there since 2017, but I'm going to be in Paris in 8 years later from when I was there. I haven't been to Paris since then. I've been to France a little bit before that, more recently, 2019. But I've not been to Paris in terms of the city in a very long time. And I've heard really bad things from independent journalism about Paris, or the natives that live in Paris, French people that are actually from France that live in Paris, and the mess it's turned into. So maybe I might channel my inner Charles Veach and do a little bit of a vlog whilst I'm in Paris, and we can see together what it actually looks like in 2025. But UK's in shit pit, and we're up shit creek. But I do think France are further along further along than we are. Despite a lot, even they're like, some of their migrants or even or the illegals are like, actually no, let's go over to the UK. This is even better. So yeah, they're struggling right now with it all. But you know, there shows no signs of ending, especially with their loopholes in place as well. Nothing about this on the MSN. I mean, BBC have just done an article. We just shared it on the live stream a little bit a bit earlier on. We went on to X. So if you are just tuning in, we did go on to that. They did say, of course, that he was a Tunisian national and he was known by the police. So he was known by authorities, apparently. And that came from BBC themselves. But they were quickly to say that obviously he was legal there. He wasn't illegal. A lot of people I'm seeing in the chat maybe misconception about stuff. He was legal. This guy wasn't an illegal migrant. He was legal. So he had the right to be in France in whatever way you want to put it. No, I won't do that, mate. I won't do that, I promise you. Yep, Canadian here, and we are tired of them. We'll be protesting too in September 13th. I would love to see Canada, of course, getting their stuff together. Not really heard too much from Canada since the sort of general election. I need to check in what's going on. Why on earth are these countries doing? Why on earth are all these countries doing all this immigration garbage? It's all a part of the global agenda. When you start seeing who runs the world and why it's happening, then, you know, it's a dark, dark rabbit hole. When you get into it, it opens your eyes up a little bit. But there was a certain, I mean, I've got to be careful what I say on here. But there was a certain poster posted in 1928 about what France would look like. 1928, it was a German propaganda poster. I'll try and find it actually whilst I'm here. It was a German propaganda poster predicting what France would be like in 50 years or something like that. This was in 1928, and it is a real representation. Now, some of you may not really align yourselves with what was said back in 1928, but a certain somebody did predict what France would have been like. What about Germany and the Netherlands? One big shithole. I mean, I haven't seen the Netherlands in a long time. The Netherlands always reminds me a lot like the UK when I look at the buildings and like the houses and estates and stuff like that. But yeah, Germany. I mean, Germany. We're usually reporting on these sort of attacks happening in Germany. So yeah, I mean, AfD is the only party that can save Germany. They're up shit creek as well. In Holland, they get 70 euros a week. They complain it's not enough. I hope not. I hope not, Steve. I hope everything happens on the 13th is going to be absolutely peaceful. I hope nothing happens. I pray to God that nothing happens. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is enough from Marseille for now. That's all we've really got. It's a breaking story. Of course, a Tunisian Islamist, the knife attacker, has stabbed 5 people, 1 in critical condition, and was consequently shot dead by police at the scene following this attack. Again, Marseille is a shit pit. France is a shit pit, and in fact, Europe is a shit pit. And this stuff is probably only going to continue if we, as Europeans, don't do something about what is happening across the continent. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section.